Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shad Bashem Lakakadash. Giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shad Bashem Lakakadash. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. And let's start the video. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, "The Angels Are Now Showing Themselves," meaning they're actually coming out of the chariots and attacking people on the earth. So this is this is something that was sent. I subscribe to these people, third phase of Moon, but I was speaking about this yesterday because I was watching Redacted, and in the middle of their live, they got a breaking news come in about 7-foot aliens coming out of ships in Peru. And I did that on another video I did yesterday, a short one. What the hell did I call it? Let me see if I can bring it up. Bear me for a minute. Okay, the Pela Cara, which is the face pillars, pill the face pillars is coming to get you. And I had the emojis, UFOs, aliens. Let me do this. Click on it. So I put that into YouTube. I believe I put that in Google. Then I think I put in YouTube. Whatever order I put it in, this video came up. Some breaking news came up on it. But truth be told, Esau doesn't want you to know that, because if it's a legitimate paper, then anything. If it's in the New York Times, 7-foot angels come out of UFOs, whatever the case may be. Okay, let me see something. Okay, I didn't leave the. Thought I left the link. Okay, someone's saying that the volcano in Peru erupted. And down in Nazca, Peru, what's this all about? Down in Nazca, Peru, that's a place, because I used to work with Peruvian people, and they used to tell me, they used to say there was a lot of omnis. They called UFOs down there omnis. He said, yeah, every night you see omnis. And that's in Nazca, Peru. Let me see. Let me do this. Pela. The YouTube page I'm looking for is let me do it this way. Okay, so you have several different platforms pretty much saying the same story. You got this in Spanish. Revelen Historia, like revealing the history of the Pela Caras, or the truth about the Pela Cabras. I'm sorry, the Pela Caras. And this was as of 1 hour ago, in Spanish, obviously. don't think any of the English papers are bringing it out. We don't know if it's a big hoax. Let me do this. Okay, this is the page. Nerd Report. And he did a live last night, which I didn't catch. What are the Pela Cara face peelers, aliens from South America? Let me see what's happening here. You know, bottom line, like I said in the title, the angels are now showing themselves. And I was going to say that a day before this happened to kind of get some prophetic credit, but I didn't. I got lazy because that would be the next step for them to show themselves, to be more emboldened. Okay, let me go here. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me subscribe to this individual, get all his notifications. All right. Okay, let me go to the live. This was put up last night. Aliens attack Peru, media cover up. It's a media cover up. There's a media covering up the alien attack in Peru, UFO footage. And you have this one, which was a day ago, unidentified flying object UFO observed near Harry and Meghan's residence. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me kind of hit this here. Gotta find out where the okay, right here. Unidentified flying object observed near Harry and Meghan's Montecito mansion. Gotta find out where it is. The Peru thing, if even real, is more likely an organization of this earth trying out new weapon tech or similar. I completely forgot about tech like the Zapata flyboard. So, like I said, we don't know how true this is, but let me come back over here. So this is like I said, I started opening up with this one, third phase of Moon, and these guys are based, I believe, in California, in the West, in the U.S. And they show a lot of footage. They're like so-called UFO chasers. You know, they eat, sleep, and crap UFOs. You watch their various tapes. You see, I subscribe to them, and I watch them when I get a notification. So anyway, this is in the middle of this. What is it? Yeah, in the actual middle of the video. You can watch the whole video. It says terrified Peruvian villagers claim they are under attack from 7-foot tall aliens dubbed face pillars or pelacaras. as they plead with authorities to send backup to members of the Akitu tribe. So the tribes people, the Israelites, I believe, claim they have suffered reported attacks by aliens. You know what I wanted to say? They have called for assistance from the Peruvian military and started conducting their own night patrols to protect the vulnerable villages. So, it's here, man. It's another step, part of the prophecies. The Christians don't know what's going on. If you're talking about aliens, they'll say, "Oh, they're demons," and it could be demons and righteous angels, because you got angels on the right hand side and angels on the left hand side. Now, we always say that the Most High send down the angels in chariots, but the Most High can also send down demons in chariots. Hold up, hold up. Yeah, I was receiving some important mail, hand delivered. Give me a second. Yeah, give me a minute here. Okay, I'll read it later. It's important, but I'll read it later. So, where am I? Yeah, so whether this is real or not, you know, we do know that we do know that yeah, like I said, we do believe and know through the scriptures that the aliens, hey, anyway, important mail. But so yeah, a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are happening. I'm a little lost for words, but I'm gonna give you a couple of precepts. Yeah, we had did a show Saturday. We had did a after camp classroom on the streets, and we went into the subject of UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I got some precepts I'm just going to pull out and then I'll close. I'm a little lost for words here. My mind is a little blank. because I got up early, but I went back to sleep, so I got up again. I'm still in the morning hours. Anyway, you know what I'm gonna do? You know what? Okay, if you go to like Zechariah 5:1 on down, if you go to Zechariah 6, the first couple of verses, it tells you that the it describes the chariots as big as mountains coming out of mountains, meaning gigantic chariots, which goes hand in hand with Second Ezra's. I don't have that on the list. Surprised I don't have that on the list. Second Ezra. Yeah, Second Ezra's chapter 13. Yeah, so Zechariah 5:1. That's clearly talking about a UFO. Revelation 10, verse 1. You can read the whole chapter. Uh, John had a series. John the Apostle had a series of visions, but he actually saw what this world called a UFO. It wasn't a vision; it was actually a UFO with an angel um, operating the UFO, so-called UFO, and giving them a little book, and the little book represents the scriptures. Second Kings 2, verse 9 speaks about Elisha being beamed up. You know, Revelation 11 speaks about us being beamed up. Zechariah 9 and 12 speaks about the angels fighting for us. You had angels that were fighting for Maccabees and the Israelites. In Second Maccabees 10, Isaiah 66 and 15, whirlwinds. Isaiah 31 and 5, just to name some of the precepts. Second Thessalonians 1, verse 6. Let's see what that says. Second Thessalonians 1, verse 6. Just read that. Yeah, seeing it as a righteous thing with the Most High, that we can bring tribulation to them that trouble you. Who's troubling us? All the nations and 2/3 of Jake. So they all gonna get it. But number one on the list are the Edomites. And to you who are troubled, rest with us when Yahweh, I'm sorry, the Lord Yahweh Shai, the word there is Kairos, like Kyrie Irving. He said, yeah, I looked up my name. It means God's name. No, it does not. It just means landlord, superior. That's all it means. I can be a lord over somebody else. Somebody could be a lord over me. If you rent a house, the landlord come and get the rent. That's when you use the word Lord right here, Kairos, meaning he's over you. You know, uh, so what so what what is being said here is my superior Yahweh shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels. So how are they coming? They're coming in ships, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High. If you got Israelites that don't acknowledge this, they're just going to die. They're going to die right along with the Edomites and the rest of the nations. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So some of the wicked are going to be your own Israelites, and that obey not the gospel, and that obey not the gospel of your superior, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. Hamashiach, Christ is the word Christ is Latin and or Greek. It's a little bit different from the Latin and the Greek, but it sounds pretty much the same. Christos. And it just means anointed or chosen. That's all it means. It's from the Hebrew word Messiah. And Messiah is even a English word now, but it's Hebrew roots. When you say Messiah, it's talking about anointed. When you christen the ship, you're anointing the ship. It says, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of Yahweh, from the presence of the Lord, and from the glory of his power, when he shall come to be glorified in his saints. Who are the saints? The Israelites, starting with the elect. And to be and to be admired in all them that believe. You don't believe, you're not going to make it. Because, and if you believe and you're chosen to be one of the prophets, you got to do the work. Because our testimony among you was believed in that day. That day is coming. Wherefore also ye pray always for, we pray always for you, and I do that. I pray for the elect, the 1/3, that our power would count you worthy of this calling. Many are called, but few are chosen, and fulfill all the good pleasure to his goodness and the work of faith with power. So the only ones that's going to be beamed up into these ships, for lack of another term, are the elect that are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. If you're part of the elect, you're written in the book and you're not going to be blotted out. If you are the elect from the foundation of the earth, you're not going to fall off, no matter what happens. You might fall, but you're going to get back up. So that your fate is already sealed, and whether you're going to make it or not. And you got this new madness of the lake of fire. That means you're going to burn eternally. So a lot of Israelites going to burn it. Don't stop listening to IUIC. Don't let the purple t-shirts fool you. They don't know the full gospel. Daniel 7 verse 9, we know that one. That's the vision of the Lord himself on a gigantic chariot. Psalms 104, 3-4, Psalm 68, 13. You got to go to the 13th verse and you read down, or you can jump to the 17th verse, 2 Kings 6 verse 17, Ezekiel 1 verse 4 on down. You can really start from the first verse, and that speaks about the angels coming out of the ships. So Ezekiel saw the ships come down, chariots come down, he saw the angels come out of the ships. In 2 Maccabees 5:1, it shows the angels, for lack of a better way of saying it, the angels hovering in the heavens, engaging in war games. So I'm gonna leave you with that, and then I'm out of here. Okay, second Maccabees. Five. See them people in Peru, if that's not a hoax, they don't know what it is. So, you know, the IUIC should pack up everything, leave Africa and go down to Peru so you can tell the people that those are the angels. You know, and then teach them a little Hebrew. The angels are messing them up because they don't know Hebrew. And they ain't straight with the Most High. But we'll see if this is a big hoax. It says about the same time Antiochus prepared the second voyage into Egypt. And then it happened that through all the city for the space almost of 40 days, they were seen horsemen running in the air. These are the angels in in clothes of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers. In Joel, the second chapter, it speaks about this army being in ranks, not breaking their ranks, not talking about actual people. It's talking about the missiles, ICBM missiles. They're going to come in formation like a, you know, well-trained, a well-oiled machine, a well-trained military marching. It says in troops of horsemen, an array which represents the UFOs encountering and running one against another and shaking shields and multitude of pikes and drawing of swords and casting of darts, glittering of golden ornaments and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that apparition might turn to good. Let me try something here. Do it this way. Modify it. I know it's got to be in first. Oh, this is a good one. Whereupon Jeremiah, which is Jeremiah, uh, um, this is a dream concerning Judas Maccabeus receiving a golden sword, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas or Judas as Maccabeus a sword of gold, and in giving it spake thus. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me go to the context. This done in like manner, he appeared a man with gray hairs and exceeding glorious, who was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren, who prayeth much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah, the prophet of God. Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas Maccabees a sword of gold, and in giving it spake thus, take this holy sword, a gift from the Most High, with the which thou shalt wound the adversary. Who is the number one adversary? The Edomites. So that that hasn't changed. They're adversaries to this very day. So that was a dream that this individual had. Let me go to context. I might have to go to the whole chapter to see what it says in context. Now, when they that were with Maccabees heard that the besiege, uh, he besieged the whole, they and all the people with lamentation and tears besought the Lord that he would send a good angel to deliver Israel. And Maccabeus himself, first of all, took weapons, exhorting the others that they would jeopard themselves together with him to help their brethren. So they went forth together with a willing mind. And as they were at Jerusalem, there appeared before them and a horse on horseback, one in white clothing, shaking his armor of gold. Then the they praised the merciful power altogether and took heart, insomuch that they were ready not only to fight with men, but with most cruel beasts, and to pierce through walls of iron. That's another one. Now, in a chapter before that, it shows, and I had went through the scripture a while back, and one of the brothers had pulled it out, and I said, yeah, that was one of that was one of my. I never wrote it down though. This particular precept. Let me see here if this is it. Okay, this is not what I want. Okay, bear me for a minute. Second Maccabees 10. Something's finally happening. Oh boy. Let me go to 29th verse. Then I'm gonna go to context. Let me see the 20. But when the battle waxed strong, there appeared unto the enemies from heaven 5 common men, which are angels, upon horses with bridles of gold, and 2 of them led the Jews and took Maccabees betwixt them and covered him on every side, weapons, and kept him safe, but shot arrows and lightning, the laser technology, against the enemies. So when the angels came down, they were fighting on the side of the Maccabees and the Israelites against the enemies. The number one enemies, the number one enemy, the top of the list are the Edomites, and that hasn't changed. That's why you had that melee, that brawl down there in Montgomery, Alabama. A bunch of Edomites got together to beat this one Jake, which is a security guy, and a bunch of Jakes jumped in and beat them down. So that's that lion being roused up in Genesis 49th chapter. Now, like we've been saying, the Most High is not dealing with Edomites, period. The Most High is not dealing with Edomites, period. They're only dealing with the Israelites, not dealing with Hamites, Arabs, none of them other nations. The Most High is getting ready to deliver the people, and He sent His prophets, which we are those prophets, because we're the only ones out there going into the scriptures. We're out there on the highways and the byways. The major thing that's going to happen before the destruction comes is the microchipping. So, these other camps that teach contrary to what we teach concerning the MOTB, they got a lot of explaining to do to their congregation. And their congregation is going to be baffled and confused, because now they're going to have second thoughts about their leader. Is my leader really telling me the truth? And you're going to ask a lot of questions. And either you're going to say, well, we were wrong, GMS was right. They might say, well, why don't we just all get with GMS? Or they might keep the lie going because some of them took the bag. Let's say all of them took the bag. At this point, if you're teaching that the MOTB has nothing to do with the Charagma, I believe you took the bag. You took the bag. Let me come back over here. Put in the word gold. Modify it. I didn't know what I was going to really speak on, so I didn't have no precepts really set up. Yeah, they were making shills, making shills out of gold. Okay, I read that. Read this real quick. I found it. I should have put in Heliodorus. Let me go to context, and I'm going to close after this. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yes, I'm going to read this and then I'm going to close. And I'm going to also put this in my notes. Second Maccabees. Three 23. And there was another one, which I already know by heart. I'm gonna write it in anyway. Second Mac 5:1. This is also mentioned in Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11, that whole book, that whole chapter took place already. No future prophecy in that book at all. Just like Daniel chapter 8. I went through that before. So anyway, let me read this. It says, nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. You know what I'm going to do? Okay, so 23rd verse, but what I'll do is this. Let me go to the whole chapter. Okay, the key point is in the 23rd verse. He was ordered by I believe it was the uncle of Antiochus Epiphanes, to rob the treasury of Israel. Okay, it says Seleucus of Asia. Maybe for a minute. We start from the 7th verse. Now, when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. And that was out of the treasury. 6th verse says, and told him that the treasury in Jerusalem was full of infinite sums of money, so that the multitude of their riches, which did not pertain to the account of the sacrifices, was innumerable, and that it was possible to bring all into the king's hand. Now, they succeeded during the time of Titus, when they raided the temple, and Titus' younger brother built the arch called the Arch of Titus, honorary arch, and it showed in the arch people raiding the temple. And they needed to build back Rome because they were talking about Rome and what it used to be like America is. So they had to build back Rome again, which they didn't because Jake took it over. The last Edomite ruler of Rome was what was his name? Domitian. And then the next emperor was a Jake, which was Nerva. You had Nerva, you had Hadrian, you had I believe Antonius was one, and you had Marcus Aurelius. If you put in 5 good emperors, you'll get their names. So these were Jakes. This one Jake, because they were doing good things for the people. Because a lot of Jakes were living under the Roman Empire. It says 7th verse, and now when Apollonius came to the king and had showed him of the money whereof he was told, the king chose out Heliodorus, his treasurer, and sent him with a commandment to bring him the foresaid money. So forthwith with Heliodorus, which is the treasurer, took his journey under a color of visiting the cities of Seleucia and Phoenice, but indeed to fulfill the king's purpose. Because anything Esau does, he does it under cover of something else. He doesn't just go right out and say, I'm robbing you. But they'll do it under, we're here to help you, but they're really stealing from you. That's what's happening in Nigeria. They ousted the puppet leader, and you had the military that was trained by the U.S. And there's a whole backstory on that. And that was for the number one resource of Nigeria is uranium. So France needs the uranium. So what Esau is doing now, the Edomites are doing now, the elite are doing what they did, 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago, beyond 2,000 years ago. Starting from, Alexander, Philip of Macedonia. So they're in this rulership for the last 500 years since Christopher Columbus. The Most High raised him back up. That's what Revelation chapter 20 is all about. And when he was come to Jerusalem and had been courteously received of the high priest, because he came for good of the city, he told him what intelligence was given of the money and declared wherefore he came, and asked if these things was so indeed. You do really got all that treasure? So let me jump down. '23rd verse. I'll go to the point. Nevertheless, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now, as he was there, present himself with his guard about the treasury, Yahweh of spirits and the prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of the Most High and fainted and were sore afraid. For there appeared unto them and a horse with a terrible rider, which was an angel, upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with the 4 feet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold. It was a golden ship. Horse just means power. The ships are also horses. A white horse, the Lord in Revelation chapter 6, a white horse, talking about a UFO, a chariot. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, and stood by him on either side and scourged him continually. These are angels. They'd whipped him. Oh, they whip him. They whip him good. And gave him many sore stripes. They beat the shit out of him. And Heliodorus fell suddenly onto the ground and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train and with all his guards into the said treasury, they carried out. He had a military with him, and they said, "No, we ain't fighting them beings. We ain't fighting them." Being unable to help himself with his weapons, and manifestly they acknowledge the power of the Most High. Because Esau does acknowledge the power of the Most High when they see that power. For he by the hand of the Most High was cast down and lay speechless, without all hope of life. They're the saying, they beat him within an inch of his life. That means if I hit you with one more blow, you're going to die. And the Lord says, when you scourge somebody, when you whip somebody, you whip them 40 times less one. So it said that if you whip them 39 times, 39 stripes, they'll be alive. They'll be messed up, but they'll be alive. But if you hit them that 40th time, they can die. So the angels beat him within an inch of his life, because they wanted him to remember. They wanted him to feel that pain, the wounds. And you did that to our people. You're going to be whipped in the kingdom. It's not going to be good. It's not going to end good for you, Edomites. And you are the Edomites. We know we identified the Edomites, but they praised Yahweh that had miraculously honored his own place for the temple. So the temple is who? The temple is the people before the place. We have no temple. So we are that temple. We are the temple. Which a little afore was full of fear and trouble, when the Almighty Lord Yahweh appeared, was filled with joy and gladness. Then straightway certain of Heliodorus' friends prayed Onias that he would call upon the Most High to grant him his life and lay ready to give up the ghost. He was beaten to the and within an inch of his life. Look that saying up. So the high priest suspected lest the king should misconceive that some treachery had been done to Heliodorus, like they beat his ass. No, it was the angels that beat the shit out of him. Because the angels can kill you, or the angels can beat the shit out of you. And you can't get no cops to arrest him. Heliodorus, by the Jews, offered a sacrifice for the health of the man. Let's pray that the man gets all right, gets better. Let me jump down to the 30th verse and I'm going to close. It says, and seeing that thou has been scourged from heaven, you were scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of the Most High. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had offered sacrifices unto the Lord, this is Heliodorus, this devil. He prayed to the Lord, giving up sacrifices, and made great vows unto him that had saved his life, and saluted Onias, which was a priest, returned with his host to the king. So when he came back to the king, he said, I ain't got nothing for you. These angels came down and beat the shit out of me. Beat the shit out of me. Now, if you go two chapters up, that goes into the war games of these angels coming down. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.